And welcome back to Habs Unfiltered. I'm your host, Blaine Pudvey, and I'm joined by my co-host, Matt Smith.
Good evening.
The Canadians had their end of season press conference. A few other things have happened. As we record, it is Thursday, the 4th of June. Um, the anniversary of D-Day is coming up this weekend, so remember that, folks. Take some time out this weekend to remember. Um, but in the meantime, from failing hands, we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. We are going to talk about the Canadians and what's coming up next with this crop. Matt, I know it's been a busy week for you with work, and I'll just get us jumping in right now. The Luke Combs concert, air quotes, controversy. Um, Basically, the Toronto media was up in a tizzy about some Montreal Canadiens going to a concert the day after getting back from Carolina and losing Game Five. Um, you'll note that there was absolutely zero controversy from Montreal's media or fan base. Was this just another attempt to troll the Canadians and their fan base, or is this Toronto's way of making everything about them and the Leafs?
I know exactly who it was that brought it up, and without naming any names, because we sometimes collaborate with the network. I'm
Nice.
just gonna say maybe this person should have stuck to sampling stuff on breakfast television as opposed to talking about hockey. We thought we finally got rid of this guy, and he's weaseled his way back into a media position.
I
And
mean, I don't mind that he talks hockey. It doesn't matter. But in this case
Stick,
here, it
stick,
just kind of
stick,
felt,
stick to your own fucking team. That's all I'm gonna say. You made a push to come back. People were happy you were gone. Now you're back, and you're already jumping in and trying to start stuff with other teams. Just stick to talking about the Leafs, talk about the Jays, talk about the fucking Argos, Toronto FC, whoever else they've got there. Talk about them. Don't start shit in Montreal, right?
oh, it wasn't just him.
If the Montreal media, the Montreal media is not making a big deal of this, and they're actually more or less celebrating the fact that even after a loss, the way that they did, the push that the Canadians made to make it to the area that they did in the playoffs, winning two 7-game series in overtime against two very good teams, and then more or less accelerating the rebuild going into the Eastern Conference Final. If the city that you're in is celebrating it and the fans are eating it up, and you've got, it's not like your general managers go coming out and saying, "Oh, they shouldn't have done that." I think they're okay, and I think it's more of a they're trying to still lick their wounds after what Keith Pally and the Leafs brass have turned their team into after looking like they had a promising go.
And it wasn't just Sid that was bringing this shit up. It was a certain very loud, yelly YouTuber with his
Oh,
own
he can,
network.
yeah, we can.
So
Again,
basically, to me,
he
all of
again he only comes around when he's got nothing to talk about anymore. And I'm not
well,
trying to
that's the
shit on
thing.
these guys too much. Like these guys have nothing to fucking be proud of anymore when they talk about the Leafs. Okay? They really don't, right? Everything went to its peak, and then last year was just like right now the only thing they're trying to do is not talk about Mitch Marner. And they're
Good
trying to do
luck.
it right, and they're trying to do everything in their power not to talk about him because he's the talk of the NHL, and he's the talk of the playoffs, especially in the finals, and he's likely going to win the Conn Smythe if they win the cup. So that's what they're trying to avoid. So they're trying to get clicks, they're trying to get views. Good on them for trying to do it. I'm not going to get pushed into that shit.
Well, no, and I mean, I get it. In Toronto, there's not a lot to talk about right now because it's a bit of a lull. They've already won their second lottery in as many years as they've missed the playoffs in the last 10.
Thank you,
Good,
Gary
good for
Bettman.
them.
Thank you,
I
Gary
don't know
Bettman.
why they're not talking more about that.
Yeah,
Why is it that everything coming out of Toronto right now is at that point, this was earlier in the week, was about this stupid controversy with the bullshit controversy with the concert because the guys are out having fun, God
yep,
forbid,
yep,
uh, or the fact that um, it was just, or that the Canadians were fraudulent.
yep,
I mean,
yep,
they lucked their way into two 7 game series wins. Come
yeah,
on,
yep.
if it was
It's
just luck,
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
if so for them, I guess it's massive coping because only luck gets you through a 7 game series, not once but twice.
Yeah.
So I guess Toronto's just unlucky because they can
Yeah.
never do it.
You know what? Like I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out. Like Luke Combs coming to Toronto this weekend, I'm pretty sure. And
He's gonna bring some Leafs up there. Everyone's gonna be
you know
fucking
what? I hope
happy.
and you know what? And I hope they do. And I hope nothing comes of it because no one should give a fuck about this as much as the Toronto media does. And if you want to spin it, I kind of hope Montreal looks at it and is like, "Oh, look, you brought up Morgan Riley and whoever else up on the stage to shotgun a
They're
beer."
missing the playoffs.
Yeah, and they missed the playoffs and they fucking suck. And maybe they should be on the ice trying to bond and finding chemistry on the ice and off the ice like the Canadians that have made them such a strong team in such a short period of time.
So basically, for anyone who's watching or listening, remember when that happens, come here to Habs Unfiltered for a special episode where we call the Leafs frauds and we
uh
make a controversy.
I'm just it's
Because
again
why not?
it's just it's ridiculous. Like a
And,
team
and
goes to the Eastern Conference Final and this is the headline. Like, yeah.
pretty much. And sticking with that, and now going on to the end of season presser with Kent Hughes, um, there was a little bit of a kerfuffle from Toronto yet again, because God forbid Hughes mentioned the fact that some of the Leafs star players have had up and down playoff seasons where they've shown up, done well, and other years where they haven't done well because he mentioned Marner. And you
Oh my
can't do
God.
that.
No,
It's illegal.
it is.
So, of course, it's all about Toronto again. And apparently, it's all rent free in Hughes's mind. But what they tend to forget is that the probably the only reason he did bring it up is a shot across the bow because the Leafs management, when they had their end of season press conference back when they missed the playoffs, at the end of the regular season,
Yeah, yeah. The
like
Canadians train.
almost 2 months ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, they mentioned the Canadians and Michael Hagee. Like
yeah.
they can't even get the names right.
Good old Hagee.
I mean, come on.
That's what
So yeah,
happens. That's what happens when you read off ChatGPT, though. So,
that's how he learned about hockey.
all right, just saying.
That's who's running the show over there. My God. Anyway, that's all that to say is one city seems to have a bit of a complex
Oh, very much so. They know they're not the big kid on campus anymore. They just know,
forever.
right? Like they had their moment. They had some good teams. I'm not going to say that they didn't have some good teams.
Yeah,
They had some, they brought in some of the right players. They just weren't able to perform when they needed to perform.
or build the roster correctly to really take advantage of the core that they had.
Right. When you have, I said, I'm not going to get in Toronto deep, but when you
Get your
had
hands.
at one point, yeah, at one point, they had down the middle Austin Matthews, John Tavares, and Ryan O'Reilly.
Pretty good.
That's pretty damn good. And I believe they were only able to win a series.
I don't even know if that was the year they won the series. Was that the year they won the series with
They
Ryan
won a
O'Reilly?
series. They won a series,
Okay, cool, cool, cool.
right?
So for
But then you,
Montreal,
but yeah, but then you go out and you make all these different ventures of
yeah,
trading for. guys like Carlo and Nick Foligno and these kind of players saying this is our year, and it's cost you year after year. So good luck to them.
Meanwhile, Montreal's core centerman of Suzuki, Jake Evans, the elite second line center,
Yeah,
Philip Deneau, like that made it to a conference final. So
yeah.
suck it. Moving on to uh, the other big news out of that press conference. There's other news as well, but we'll start here. Brendan Gallagher's future with the Canadians is now no longer.
See, this should be the story. This should be the
That should be the
story
story.
because some people are looking at it from a business standpoint and a team management standpoint and a team construction, I guess, standpoint, while others are saying you did this veteran wrong. And I'm seeing both
Yeah.
sides of it, and I see both sides of it. So I'm not going to say I'm not like from a Canadians fan standpoint. I want to see obviously the best team that can be on the ice. And Brendan Gallagher still played 77 games this year. He's shown health. The production is no longer what it used to be. However, I know what he brings to that lineup. I know what he brings to that jersey. I know what he brings to the city. And that was what 14 years of playing through some pretty serious injuries and coming back and wearing a leather on his chest. And it just seems that now is the time to move on. Do I like that how it's transpired? No, I can't say that I do. But I understand it from a business standpoint and I understand it from Gallagher's standpoint. And I think he does have a little bit of a right to be ticked off about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would say that since the Canadians and this management group have taken over, they've taken care of their veterans,
Yeah, I would say
right?
that
Or
if
they
you're looking,
or they facilitated um, moves. They did it with Casey DeSmith. They did it with Jeff Petrie, et cetera,
mm,
to make these moves to send them to places either they wanted to go or at least facilitate deals that made them happy.
yeah, and I think that's going to happen here. But the whole lead up to this, I mean, this is essentially Gallagher coming out and saying, "I want to trade publicly." That's what it boils down to. All the emotions set aside, which are valid. I don't think this is catching the management group off guard.
No, I think
I
this has
think
been in
this
the
is
works.
something yeah, they talked about this. I think it's just him voicing it publicly for the first time, even if his teammates did not know about it. And I think it has a lot to do with what may have been the first real misstep with treating your veterans and putting them up on a pedestal like they have been,
Yep,
in that they didn't dress him in that game five, knowing that they needed some kind of a spark, an emotional spark, and that's been his role with the team for the last decade and a half, and it didn't happen. Now, is it a bit of a mistake? Sure. I can see why they didn't dress him if they were looking, if they thought that was the lineup to help them win, but they completely fell flat on their face. So it just really screams, hey, at least give him that one game to try. And I think that's where it hurt him. You saw
yep,
him down on the ice level after the game was done, in his street clothes, in his hoodie, and you can tell there was something there. And then this came out, and that makes perfect sense. And now
yep.
his agent's been given permission to talk to other teams, and basically Vancouver's been bandied about, which makes perfect sense. I
It
mean,
does.
there's a team that's going through a transition, and they need an emotional
Look,
uh,
well, I like the fit
spark.
not only just based on the fact that that's where he's from. He's from BC,
Mm,
but I like the fact that look at who they've brought in. They brought in veteran
mm,
players that have played within the organization, that have built themselves a reputation in the league and built themselves Um, some I'm going to say some fanfare over the years in Vancouver, bringing in the Sedin twins. You bring in Malhotra now as the coach, and Ryan Johnson as the GM. I think it's a good match for 1 year,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
it's 1 year at 6.5. And I don't think the Canadians are going to have to eat anything on this. They may
I
have
don't
to
think they
add a
will
pick.
either. Yeah, I
They
don't think
may,
they will either.
but they won't. I don't think they're going to need to eat the cap because Vancouver is having a problem just meeting the cap floor. So
Yeah,
they bring in a veteran guy with a ton of experience who's known as being a spark plug, being an emotional leader, and that is exactly what their their group needs to kind of regroup from the nightmare that Vancouver's gone through over the last year
yeah,
as they start a rebuild. So I think there's a really good fit there. I really hope it happens because he's from there, because it's a fit for him. He'll have a big role there. He'll get what he wanted.
yeah.
Um,
I want to see what's
and
best for him. I really do.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think that is what's best for him, to be honest. And I truly, truly look forward to his first game back in Montreal. Coming in, could you like just imagine the noise
We might have to
from
go
the
to that game.
fans?
We might have to go to that
Yeah,
game. Yeah,
we may have to. That might actually be a really one to. Yeah, that'd be a good
it
one to
would
go
be.
to. I was talking about taking the kids to a game, so eh, better not send us to Sierra, fucking overseas, bastards.
Well,
But
after the
yeah,
game, after the game, you could drop the kids off at the hotel, and you can walk in with a Dunn's poutine at 4 in the morning.
well, my kids are almost at the age now where they could just come out.
Yeah,
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 it is
that's
Quebec.
true. Yeah,
Even
yeah,
my youngest one probably get away with it.
yeah.
Um, so that's a like that was a really big piece of this. If they do end up moving him, that's $6.5 million more that they can play with. And I'm looking at so that's one position on the roster that opens up right away for someone else.
Yeah,
And in the last episode, we talked a little bit about Doc. That's another forward that we talked about. I thought,
yeah.
you know, they might give another offer if it's, a cheap one. But after listening to what they said in the press conference and how they want to open up some lanes for some of the kids and go in a different path, I don't know if Doc. I don't think Doc's coming back.
I kind of don't think he is either. He's not going to be that second line center that they need. And yeah, I'll bring that up because it's still a it's still a necessity. Um, he's not the second line center that they need. In a perfect world, Evans is your three or your four. You've still got a spot there for Kapanen,
Mhm.
who, on my opinion, would be an ideal three.
Agreed.
And we saw in the playoffs he showed some flash. I thought that he had a really good bounce back when he had that really bad game that cost them a game, and then
Hmm.
he played lights out the next game. But I noticed that, and yeah, I know you noticed too, as it got deeper in, I know the rest of the team faded, but as did he. And a lot of the things that they talked about were players being worn down, the smaller players, the smaller team members being worn down. Well, he's not a small player,
He was worn down.
but he was worn down and he was not very noticeable. Let's just say that.
And you got guys like Bolduc who finally found his footing
Yeah.
when he finally
Yeah.
found
And he's
a
better
role,
suited. He's better suited to a third line role. Josh
which is
Anderson
the yeah,
played outstanding, and I will not say any bad things about Josh Anderson's playoff performance. He's a third line guy, but this opens the door to bring in those other either guys within the team or within the organization or to make moves to bring in those assets. I know a lot of people are talking about wanting to see Florian Jacki,
sure. If
right? Well,
he's ready for the
if
NHL,
he's right, if
maybe.
he comes out like he did last year
Yeah.
during training camp, absolutely.
I think he's almost there. I mean,
Yeah.
so this is a roster spot I think that could be opened up to let that happen.
Yes.
Uh, so Doc's usage. His play as the playoffs went on was getting lower and lower and lower. Like I said, Budzik kind of took over that role
Yes.
as a forechecker, as that board battle guy that they were setting up a cycle that they wanted Doc to fill on a third line.
Hmm.
Like you said, they still need that second line center. And Doc being relegated to third line wing, when there's other guys who can take that on, like Budzik could take on more ice time. Anderson did an amazing job. He's still got another year left. It opens up a spot for guys like Florian Jacki to try and make it. Owen
I
Beck,
went back.
who
Yeah.
can step up. Beck is a guy who plays a good north south game with speed, has a good shot.
Can win
He
faceoffs.
battles and he can win faceoffs. Even if he plays on the wing, you can move him to the center to win the faceoff and then go back to the wing.
Yeah.
Not a problem there.
Yeah.
So that opens up some roster spots for the young guys to finally take their step up because Beck is for sure NHL ready. After watching him in the AHL this past year and his call ups, he's definitely ready. And that and I don't think Veleno is going to be back. So that's a third roster position that's opened up. Probably going to be filled by somebody they trade for.
Right.
And that lowers people down the depth chart a little bit, which but it still leaves some things left to be taken care of up front. But that's basically all that to say, I don't think Doc's coming back. And that's three and a
No,
half
I don't think
million that they
so.
can use elsewhere.
Mhm.
Which kind of brings us to Monty. Um, I like we both talked about Montebo in the last episode, thinking that he was done, he was gone. But judging by what they said in this press conference, to me it sounds more like Mister. He's in the best shape of his life. Blah blah. They were gassing him up a little bit, probably getting it in everyone's minds that he's still in the mix.
Yeah.
So he probably stays for this final year because Fowler can still go down to the minors without passing waivers. He plays 50, 60 games down there. Monty's contract's up, then you bring Fowler up. I can see that being their plan.
So with a shorter preseason, a longer regular season, do you have do you have that capacity to do a is this guy back scenario?
Yeah. I think they do because they can rely on bringing Fowler up and using him. That's not to say they won't go out and sign another goaltender or bring up a guy like uh, Croteau or something, where they sign him to a pro contract and they can play in the AHL if needed.
Right.
Uh, I can see that being done as the back as an insurance because if Monty can't do it, then you bring up Fowler, you move Monty down to the minors, you trade him away, whatever. But you have that other goalie there as a backup, so that at least Laval is covered.
Right. I don't know. Like I don't know about this one. I kind of feel that the ship has passed, or you know what I mean? Like I just I want to say that he'd be back and he just needed time to redeem himself. But when
Yeah.
we look at the growth of Dobesh, even though he had some stunts in his this year, in stunts in his play or stints in his play this year, just based on the fact that they were trying to get Montembeault going and it never worked.
Mm-hmm.
And Dobesh has established himself as the clear-cut number one when they were trying for the longest time to say, no, it's still Sam, it's still Sam, it's still Sam. Well, Fowler coming up on two different occasions to more or less save the day. I think with how the two of them work together, both being young, one being 24, one being 21, and how well it seems that they both do with this goaltending coach, it would not surprise me if Montembeault is either AHL bound if they can't move him, or he's moved. I could
Um.
see them. I could
Yeah.
see them. I could see them. Because I don't know how many preseason games they play now, like four, something
4.
like that.
Yeah.
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 If you give each of them a start, and then Either you go between your who you think's going to be your two and give him the last game, something like that. Give your one a break, maybe.
Maybe.
Like it's gonna be the showcase of trying to showcase your talents and why you should be there is going to be a little bit less, and it's going to be that way for every team. And hopefully we're not going to see these guys come out and say, well, we're going to send our all our grinders out against this team, and people get their knees blown out and everything.
I think we're going to see less of that now because the short postseason, the preseason is so short. But
Right.
so when it comes to Monty, though, I personally, I still believe what I said in the last episode, where I think he is done. Myself personally, if I were to
I
make a
think so. I think
what
so.
I'm guessing at is the intentions of management and the way they were talking. It does kind of point to them wanting to give him another chance as the veteran backup to help Dobish along and to give Fowler more starts to help his progression. Um, so that's what I think they're going to go with. But personally, I'm with you. I think that ship has sailed.
I think
I
it
don't
has. I
I
think it
don't
has.
have I don't have the faith that he's going to show up next season ready to go and be able to be a 1B or a backup that can play 35 games, 40
Yeah.
games. Because it's an 84 game schedule next year.
Yeah. And they're playing in the toughest. That's the toughest division in hockey.
Oh, by far,
And the
by
teams
far.
and like Florida's coming back. They're going to be healthy next year.
Yeah. Well, that's the
So,
thing. Everyone talks about the Canadians being, or everybody, Toronto is talking about the Canadians being a fraud
yeah.
uh, because next year Florida's back. Toronto will be a super improved and they're going to be ready to go and cup contenders again after finishing nearly fucking dead last. And then, you got all the other teams. Detroit's going to be great, except, hey, funny story. We'll talk about this later, but there's stuff with certain players demanding trades. Yes, teams in the Atlantic have improved. Buffalo, Florida's coming back, but the Canadians have also improved, and they still need to make moves, but they will, and they will improve as well. So, will they be completely out of the playoff picture? No. Is it a tougher go? Yes, because it's the toughest division in hockey
Yeah.
in the world. In any league anywhere, that division is the toughest.
Yeah.
Um, and before we move on to anything else, we'll do a quick commercial break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about a bunch of other things like Demidov and trade rumors and all that. But first, before that, a little consumer news for today. A new men's product has hit store shelves this week called Alpha Beta Thunder Max Pro X, a supplement specifically designed for guys who think every conversation is secretly a competition. Manufacturers claim it increases confidence by 300%, causes spontaneous stories about high school football, and may result in users referring to themselves as a problem, despite struggling to open a pickle jar. Doctors say the only confirmed side effect so far is standing with your arms crossed in front of a lifted pickup truck while explaining cryptocurrency to people who didn't ask. More on this developing story as soon as Chad finishes his pre workout and stops yelling at a Bluetooth speaker. All right, that's definitely something that I'm never going to buy because it is fake as hell. We don't have any big name sponsors at the moment, and I thought, let's fill some time. So there we go. Um, but moving on, we're going to talk about the Demidov contract coming up. So during this end of season presser, um, yeah, everyone's disappointed that they lost to Carolina in the way they did, but uh, Demidov made it clear that staying in Montreal long term is a priority. Hughes made it very clear he didn't mince words at all He is looking to secure Ivan Demidov to a maximum number of years, and he wants to do it this summer. And he's confirmed that he's going to be meeting with Demidov's camp in the coming weeks. And Demidov, his response to that was when he was asked about his agent, he said, "I just tell my agent, just do your job." So um, it sounds like this is going to be something that should happen fairly quickly. But the question is term and dollars. Some people are talking bridge deal, 5 year deal, but I think this is looking to be more of an 8 year deal, which is still allowed under the CBA for players on the team currently until the 15th of September, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Now, I understand some people thinking he wants the 5 years so he can maximize his numbers and dip again in free agency for another 5 years, like certain greedy players did out of Toronto. Clearly, that's for a group of guys who, in my opinion, are doing it more for money and less for trying to win, which is fine. They have every right to do it. But it also kind of pointed to they lacked the faith in their franchise winning eventually. And what Demidov has been kind of pointing at, and how all the players have been talking, they feel that the Canadians are onto something special and they want to be here the long term.
Yep.
So Hudson was talking to him about this. He talked to Hudson about it. So yeah, 8 years feels right at this point. But the question is, will it be under 10 million
I
per
think it
year?
will. I think it will. I think he's another one of those guys that'll be a buy-in type player. Hudson signed for 8.85, and
Yeah.
he's only getting better. And I know with the money going up, I think he'll make more than what Suzuki is going to make, but I can't see him making more than Hudson. I could see him coming in between 8.5, and I think most people would be
Yeah.
okay with that.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, some people are saying if anything less than 10 million is a huge win for the Canadians.
Right. I would say I'd be happy with that. It keeps everyone right in line with kind of that structure. And I'm not, like again, like you have to you have to pay good players. And I'm not saying
Yes.
you shouldn't pay good players, but you look at how teams have bought in, or the team has bought in with Suzuki making 7.875, and then Caulfield making 7.85. Slavkovsky making 7.6, and then you kind of go down the line. People argue, oh well, you paid Dobson 9.5. Well, you had to do that to that was the market.
And he was also an RFA with arbitration
Right,
rights and all
right,
that.
right.
You have to look at a little bit of a window of it. And you mentioned Hudson, and I wrote about this at the Hockey Writers. I went
Hmm.
through it with a evaluation of Demidov's contract comparables. Now Montreal can easily use Hudson's contract as the benchmark, like you mentioned, because Hudson set a rookie record for points for assists by a rookie defenseman. He won the Calder Trophy, and he signed for what he signed for, which was about 8.5% of the cap at the time, ending up being, I think you said 8 point, yeah,
Hudson
8.85 million. Yeah.
8.85. Yeah,
So they can make an argument that Demidov should sign for that or less.
yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Um, Demidov's camp can come back and use other people as comparables, like Lucas Raymond, who was in a similar situation to Demidov, signed right after ZLC after having a great year. They can do it with Cole Caulfield, who did the same. And those two were at about 9.2 to 9.4 million, which would be the upper end would be around 9.8 million, which is still under 10. I think his number is going to fall somewhere between Hudson's 8.85 and about 9.5 ish. If he gets to 9 and he sticks at 9 or less, that is a team friendly deal by any standard,
Right,
considering what Demidov is supposed to become.
right.
Which,
You
I
put
mean,
him a
all the players
a
doing that.
62 point season in your first year.
pretty good.
playing with kind of like a mostly with Kapanen, but at the same time, like that line changed so many times.
It was a revolving door,
Yeah,
and that's his rookie year. And he took a little bit of time to get going in the playoffs, but he did. So here's a guy who has shown that he can improve, and he's got a ton of room left. He's got a good frame on him for an NHL winger. He's got all that skill to be the game breaker. The Canadians' core is locked up with team friendly deals, so I'm expecting him to sign long term team friendly. So somewhere around Hudson to 9 million, somewhere in there. And if that happens, man, this he is the final long term piece right now, and they can then use that to frame the salary cap structure for the franchise.
yep,
He'd still be the highest paid forward,
yes,
so that he's still got that feather in his cap, and Montreal has a ton of cap left over the next few years to make a big trade or sign some pieces because we all know what the Canadians are missing. They're missing that 2C, which is probably going to be a trade in my opinion.
yep.
They're missing a little bit of a right hand defenseman depth, which Reinbacher hopefully fills that.
Let's just before we get into that,
Yeah.
just look at not next season, but the season after. So the 27-28 season. That's a lot. That's the
Mhm.
season that a lot of people talk about because so many people come off the books. Okay. As of right now, on the on with the forwards that the team currently has, the only players that are signed 27-28 are Suzuki, Caulfield, Slavkovsky, Evans, and Texier. That's it.
And I'm expecting to see guys like Bud Zook and Newcook, and
Yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah, of
going to get
course.
their secondary guys, their depth guys.
But
Then
those are
there's
the
going to be
only
the young
ones.
guys coming up.
Those are the only ones as of right now.
Yeah. So that's why everyone was kind of was pointing at that being the year when the window is fully open, and why because of what they've done the last year, a year and a half, that they say they've progressed much quicker than expected. So I think that they're at the point now where they kind of have to make some moves to really take a jump again next year. And honestly, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't. And it's not like Hughes isn't known for making big moves in the summer. He's done it every freaking year.
Yeah.
So,
Some have been bigger swings than others, or they've been better success than others.
mhm.
But you can't say that he hasn't tried.
Yeah, like Doc was his first big swing. It didn't work out. Not because of misevaluation, just injuries, and he just never panned out.
Yeah.
At the time, everyone was pretty excited about it. Here's a big frame center who's drafted third overall coming in, young guy, every chance to be a second line center. And then he literally broke both his legs trying and
Yeah.
just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Um, but that still leaves the hole that needs to be filled, and that's 2C. Right hand D, which I think Reinbacher can step up. And then you need another top six guy or a middle six guy with some size.
Yeah. I agree.
So they have the cap space and flexibility to fill all of that. Sorry, this summer.
But
So
but again, it's they've been able to add piece by piece.
yeah,
Don't be surprised if it's another piece. It isn't the whole kitchen.
they're definitely going to be coming out of this summer with two pieces. I think.
I think
So
they're going to
Reinbacher
be
is
more
one.
aggressive. They're going to be more aggressive.
Yeah, I do. Okay, so I think Reinbacher is seen as that one piece on right D by them. So they're not going to go swinging for the fences to get another right D
Unless
right away.
something falls under their lap.
Exactly. Or they miss on everything else.
Right.
then they'll go. To me, it's the 2C. That's the big one.
Yes.
The big one they're going to be moving for. But they can also address using free agency. They can address that middle six with some size, like guys like AJ Greer is going
Yep.
to be testing the free agent market. Guys like Mason
Mason,
Marchment
Mason Marshman, yeah.
and even Anthony Mantha.
Right.
So Marchment, I think, is going to be a little bit more expensive, but Greer and Mantha, I think, will be fairly cheap considering the UFA market, and they could get them at shorter terms, say like 3 years.
Right.
So you're not really risking much. Now,
And
obviously, I
Greer's
prefer Greer.
from Quebec.
Yeah, and so is Mantha.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and Mason Marchment just sounds like he is.
Yeah.
So they can use a little bit of the money to kind of fill in that hole and give a
He's
little bit of
also a former
size,
Leaf.
which would even be a bigger kick in the nuts for
Yeah,
them.
right.
Um, so yeah, they can go that direction. That'd be great, but it's the 2C. So I keep bringing that up because there's some stuff in the news has been coming up recently with trades and everything. One trade rumor that they came out with the return was a sizable forward, a big power forward out of Toronto. Matthew Nyes was supposedly going to be going to Montreal the trade deadline for a massive package. Now, the rumored package from David Pagnotta was Zurovsky, another prospect, and two firsts. I'm kind of glad it didn't pan out. Like I knew that they were going after Nyes, and I knew he was the guy that they wanted, but I'm kind of glad they didn't pay that.
Right. I'm not going to say anything bad about Nice. I think that
Oh, he's worth a
after
lot.
after Marner on that team, he would have been the next piece that most teams would have wanted.
And you tell me if he were on Montreal's roster for this playoff run, that series would end up the same? I don't think so.
Right. He's still not a center, but
No,
at the same point, you put him with Demidov or you put him with Suzuki and Caulfield. He is used to playing with skilled players and playing bigger
yeah,
minutes, and he can kill penalties and he can play the body and all this kind of stuff. But I would say that it would be a bit of a reach, but it depends on where those first I'm not going to say that I support the deal. Depends on what the other prospect was. Zorowski just won KHL Player of the Year or Rookie of the Year,
rookie of the year. Yep,
and your first round picks likely would have been this year and next, where they'd be later first round picks anyway.
true. Yeah, I'm not saying he's
So,
not worth it.
right,
I don't know if it's
I can see both sides of it. It's the other prospect, and
yeah,
I really like what I see with Zorowski.
yeah, exactly. That's the
Right?
thing. Like, well, what are they giving
They've
up?
given up two first round picks and a good roster player in Heineman to pick up Noah Dobson. So it's not like
Yeah,
they're scared to move futures,
yeah.
and that deal worked out for them. I don't know about this one.
So
Again, not talking shit about the player.
yeah, no, no, that's the thing.
If I'm a GM looking on the outside, I'm looking at Toronto's roster. Again, after Marner was gone, he would probably be the next target.
Well, and he's a guy that performs in the playoffs. Like he's got
Yeah,
that build, he's got that grit. That fills needs the Canadians definitely have. And
yeah,
he's a first line player. So that would give Montreal five first line players. Still missing that 2C, but that's five guys who can play on a top line, which not a lot of teams can boast. So that would be a big feather in their cap. Nice is a guy who can score 30 goals. That'd be another 30 goal scorer in their roster. That'd be great. Like you mentioned with the lines, it would be very beneficial to be able to move him from one line, from top line to second line, back and forth with Slavkovsky, or you could put Slav with Nyes if you really wanted to power. wanted to shove it down somebody's throat. Um, but to give up all of that to a division rival would kind of hurt a little bit. But it does point to the fact that Hughes is willing to take a massive swing even with a division rival.
Yes. It's just not the it's not the 1A position of need. It's still
No, it's a
it
1B.
would yeah, it would still cross a lot of stuff off the list. Don't get me wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
it's still not that home run swing you're getting a center.
But you end up with a guy. You got Slavkovsky, then you've got Nyes, then you've got Budzik. So you got three guys who play a physical brand. And two of them have really large frames. Budzik has a decent frame, but he plays bigger. So you'd have three guys punishing the other team on that one wing
Yeah.
the whole game. That's a massive addition to the Canadians if they were ever to get a player that could do that. That would be very beneficial. But like you said, it's not the main need. The main need's at center, and they're not afraid to deal with teams in their division. Which brings me to one of their division rivals had a center demand a trade today.
Yeah.
Dylan Larkin, the captain of the team, said he wanted out, according to Elliot Friedman.
Yeah. Very skilled player. Very skilled
Very.
player. And he's been relatively healthy. He had some health issues for a little while, or at least one season he had health issues. But in the last few years, he's played his last four, he's played 80, 68, 82, and 74. And he's had 32, 33, 30, and 34 goals. He's good for a 30 goal campaign, 70 points. And that's what you're looking for right now as a second line center. He can also win faceoffs.
He's around 52 to 53% on his
Yeah.
faceoffs.
Yeah.
He's
And he can skate like a motherfucker.
oh my god, he's so
All
fast.
right. So,
Which which fits Montreal's MO. They like speedy players.
mhm.
Um, he wins faceoffs. He's
Yep.
not overly physical. He's not the
No.
one throwing the hits. He doesn't have a ton of hits, but he does he uses his frame to defend the puck, to hold possession, and to battle through the contact, which is great. And he's a shooter. He's not a playmaker. He's a shooter.
Yep.
And when you think what the Canadians really need up the middle, they don't really need a playmaker. They've
Yep.
got Demidov. They
Well,
need a
like,
shooter.
well, I would want to see what this guy can do in a playoff role. He's
I would
never
love.
done it. He's only ever played. He played in I think his first year in the 15-16 season.
Mhm.
He played for them and played a few games on the wing. So we haven't
Yeah,
seen what he can do with the C on his chest and developing as a leader on this team. I could see him being a guy that could be really good. I thought he looked good at the Four Nations tournament,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
I think so.
I could see him being. I'm not gonna say I could see him bringing it to another level in a playoff environment. But we just haven't seen it, and I could see after 10 years of not being in the playoffs, then yeah, I'd probably ask for a deal too. And it kind of brings me up. So it kind of seems like with Marner on his way out, or Marner's gone, and now they're looking to possibly dangle Nyes, or they were looking to dangle Nyes.
I don't know what the new management they're going to follow through with that kind of a move.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But on the Detroit side, they clearly have done something that it's like, okay, this isn't working. And I know that Eiserman's a very respected hockey man. It's just
yeah.
it's they've got to do something. And now if your captain's coming out during your off season saying that he wants out, I'm gonna say his good is gone, more than likely. And his contract is not that bad. I think he's only making like 8.5,
8.7.
8.7. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And for the next 4 years, I want to say 4 or 5 years.
and he's 29 and he's going to be 2031. He'll be 34. So yeah, it's 5 more years,
Yeah. For a player that can give you 30 goals a year at least, and you
maybe
play him
more
with,
with a guy like
yeah,
Demidov.
yeah. So I think that the center, like, it would really depend on if they were willing to play with someone within their division,
Which
right?
Hughes is willing to do, but is
Yes,
Yzerman? That's
I
the
don't know if
question.
he would, yeah, right?
But
But at this point, when your captain comes out and asks for a
mm,
trade, it kind of points you and puts your back against the wall. But he does have a no move, and I think it's a full no move.
it's a full
So
no trade.
full no trade, okay.
Yeah,
So he really picks his destiny right now
which
to an extent.
which also lowers the value that Detroit would be able to get because now it's known that he wants out and he can pick his spots.
Yep,
It's not like they can have a bidding war here.
yep, yep.
So if he says, I want to go to Montreal, that's pretty
Hmm.
much it.
Yeah.
You got to make the deal.
Yeah, and we're seeing
Um,
players do that more and more. We're seeing it with
yeah,
players flex. We saw it with Quinn Hughes, right?
yeah. We saw it with Noah Dobson.
Saw it with Dobson. We're probably gonna see. I'm not gonna rub the crystal ball too much, but we're probably gonna see it with Brady Chuck,
I think he already has behind the scenes said, I want
right?
out.
So right, so we're seeing it.
Maybe
We're
not in
seeing
those
it more and
words. He
more.
probably grunted something. "Ah, me want God."
Yeah, probably. Hey, you guys, or whatever the hell he said,
Yeah. Take
right?
your Superman shirt and get out.
All right, right. But he would be a very good ad
Mm,
and bring leadership experience. He's in that age group. He plays with that speed. He's what you
yeah,
want.
like so you got the Multi report saying he wants out. You it's this is not a fringe player like you said. It's their star. It's their captain. And having a captain demand a trade publicly like that,
Yeah.
according to Friedman, um, it is a big deal. Like I don't know, not publicly, but rumored to want out according to Friedman and some other sources.
He's usually
So
pretty
it
right
points
on
to
this kind of stuff.
yeah. So that's usually yeah. So this points to there's some leadership disputes going on, the lack of playoffs, that he wants to go someplace to win now because he's 29 and
Yep.
he's got a few years left. He wants to pick a spot and he's not seeing Detroit really taking that step. So
Right.
that's fine. That's great. He's run out of patience. He can pick his spot. Um, I understand the frustration, but if you're Yzerman, you got to try to fix that relationship before you even, kick that
Yes.
can down the road.
Yeah. But I think they've seen kind of the roster management and the things that they've kind of done that have some of the swings that they've tried to make that haven't worked out. Like bring it like this year they tried to bring in Justin Falk and they said that this was going to be our big piece and it didn't work out and they still missed the playoffs and they gave up their first round pick,
Yeah.
right? So I could see him being wanting to be a foot out the door and I'm wondering what's going to happen when it comes time because like after him like you still got some good players in the lineup, don't get me wrong, but you lose your leadership, especially your captain. Other guys are going to start talking and other guys are going to start saying like, oh well, what about me?
Yeah. What about me?
Yeah, and they've got a very good defenseman named Mort Sider who is signed at 8.55.
What hand is he?
Right. He signed till
Everybody going to
2030.
Montreal.
He signed till 2031 and he's got a modified no trade that only kicks in 2 years.
So yeah. So
I'm not saying
there's gonna be
Montreal,
dominoes to this. No, but
even though ideal Lane Hudson partner. You heard it here first. Ideal Lane Hudson partner who's only 25 years old, right?
yeah. Whoa. but that's the thing. Like, there's going to be dominoes to this. If Larkin does move out, others are going to want out as well, and it'll probably signal a full rebuild. Yzerman's time is done. Blah blah blah. That's why I think how he handles Larkin at this point will dictate his future with that franchise. So will
Yeah,
Yzerman stay or go? And it is based solely on how he deals with Larkin.
right.
And I would, if I were Yzerman and I wanted to stay in Detroit, and being that I was a legend in Detroit, that's what I'd want. But if he can't do that, then he has to deal Larkin. But if you do, there's not a lot of teams that have the position that Larkin would want, which is, a sizable top six role,
Yeah,
uh, maybe even a leadership role on a team that's young enough that could compete for a while and good enough that they would compete for a while. So Utah, perhaps, um, and Montreal. There's two right there. I can't think of too many others that also have the assets to trade for him.
there's another team that has been looking for centers for a long time. That's Minnesota,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There you go. Yeah,
right?
but what assets do they have that are young and upcoming that they could move?
That they already haven't moved. Yeah, another
Yeah,
team. I'll say the Kings,
yeah, yeah.
right?
Would they
With
be
with
willing to
with
give up a
with
Byfield for that?
yeah with Cope. Well, that's another center that's going out,
Yeah,
right? So
exactly. Well, you got to make room for him, right?
yeah, maybe they give up
So
maybe like a I don't know, make a Brant Clark or something. Maybe might be a little
something
bit
along those
right.
lines.
Yeah,
But let's just pretend Montreal is the front runner. That's the one he wants to go to, which, I mean, it's just as likely as any other. But let's say he does. Montreal does have the pieces.
they do.
They've got picks, they've got prospects, they've got young roster players like Kapanen and
Hmm.
Beck and uh, all kinds of guys. But I think the cornerstone would end up being Michael Hagee.
That could be Michael Hagee.
Well, and it makes honestly it kind of fits because he plays in Michigan. He's
Right.
right there. They see
Yeah.
him all the time. His the coaching staff there. There's some overlap between Michigan and the Red Wings. His summer coaches, there's some overlap with the Red Wings as well. So they obviously would know him and would probably want him in any deal because I mean he is one of the top center prospects outside the NHL.
Right.
So if you want a Dylan Larkin, be ready to give up Michael Hage,
E.
in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hagee.
Yeah.
So obviously you'd have to give up a little bit more. You'd want to move. They'd probably want someone to take a spot on the roster now. So maybe a Kapanen,
Yep.
Hage, Kapanen, probably some picks, a couple of first round picks. Is that enough to really take the Canadians to the next step? Do they have enough cap left afterwards to make a couple other moves? I think so.
Right.
So he's a good fit. Now, would I rather have Nico Hischier? Yes, I would personally prefer Nico Hischier.
Yeah, he's good.
He's
He's a
a little bit
very,
younger.
yeah, very good player. 27. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's due a contract next by the end of this season coming,
Yeah.
and he's going to
He's making
want
just
a
what?
pay
Just over,
raise.
he's making what? 7.5 right now? Something like that.
Yeah, somewhere around there. He probably wanted closer to 10, maybe 11. So you got to take that into consideration too. The
Hmm.
price for the two will probably be about the same. So you have to look at the cap, which is the cost certainty for Larkin. That makes him, more desirable,
Right.
I guess. But just playing wise, I would prefer to have a left-handed Suzuki.
Right.
That's me.
No, he's another
That's
guy
just
that's
how I roll.
on that line, he'd be a easily a 30 goal guy as well.
Yeah, well, even
I'd say
with
so.
sure. Even if you don't get 30 goals, I mean, all you're looking for is a second line center who can play responsible hockey and put up 60 points. Both of them can do that.
Yeah,
Both of them are going to cost you a top prospect, a couple of firsts, and probably a roster player.
right.
Then you got, like I know people are still pining away for Robert Thomas, but they want
I
Jack
think
Eichel-esque levels.
I think that's sailed. I think that ship sailed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And the season's not quite over yet. As we record, Game 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs finals are about to be played, and who knows? There could be a couple of players from either of the finalists that become available via trade, so that they can stay viable for as contenders for a couple more years to make some changes. So things are still
Jack
in
Eichel.
flux. Yeah. So that, at the end of the day, I think the next couple of weeks are going to be very exciting for Habs fans. Uh, Hughes is known for making blockbuster moves every single year. I think this year is going to be yet another. So let's just say the draft table or the lead up to the draft is going to be fun.
It will be. And you know what? It's gonna be interesting for the draft this year and doing some further in-depth research on some of these guys because we haven't really been used to looking at some of these late first round picks or guys that could drop that could be home run swings, etc. We haven't really had the reason to do that over the last few years. So it's good to see the team develop and to move into
Mhm.
that direction. And it's exciting time to be a hockey fan or to be a Habs fan. It
Now,
really is.
I've done some work with Draft Prospects Hockey. You can go check us out there. There's a lot of names on that list, around 28, that people are going to really enjoy taking a look at.
Yep.
Trust me, go there, check it out, and look up the names. There's a ton of good stuff there. But for now, we're pretty much at the end. Just one last opportunity. Any final thoughts or hot takes that you want to provide?
No, not right now.
It's been a tough week. Yeah,
it's been a tough week. It's been busy. Not being able to make it home for a friend's funeral. And having to watch that on a monitor while I'm
yeah.
trying to get work done. That kind of took a little bit of a toll out of me. Um, so, apologize to people that I haven't been as say talkative or responsive on social media in terms of the usual Habs coverage that I'll bring out, but I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay, and I thank the people that have reached out and have said something or have given some positive words to me. Um, like I said, it's an exciting time to be a fan. It's an exciting time for the Canadians. Sky's the limit for this team. I apologize if I may have sworn a little bit more than I usually do in the show, but you know what? It is what it is. I'm from the East Coast. Sue me.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah.
Um, and for me, I'm not going to do any hot takes on this one. I'm just going to stick to kind of for my final thoughts. Just remember anybody who's suffering. 988 is there as a crisis line. If you're under the age of 18, Kids Help Phone is available to you. There's mental health support numbers that you can check out through your provincial and federal governments. Use them. If you can't find a friend to chat with or talk to or share with, use those numbers. It's not necessarily just people who are having certain thoughts about harm, but it's anybody that's going through any kind of crisis.
Yeah.
Like Matt's friend's passing, that hits people deep.
Yeah.
I know you were taken aback by it and it hurts, and you've got people you can talk to, which helps. But there's some people out there that don't have that. So anybody who's listening who doesn't have someone to talk to, take advantage of those numbers. Mental health is a true issue out there, and we want to help support and keep everybody around as much as we can. So avail yourselves of any of the help that's available to you, please, please. That is my final thought for the episode. You got
Yeah,
something else?
yeah. For any military member that's listening, you can use SIF map as well.
Yes,
Right. So this is
exactly.
the Canadian Forces Member Assistance Program for those who don't know.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
understand that some people can't trust or don't feel they can trust their chain of command. Um, I understand. Being someone who's fairly up in a chain of command, I want to help my personnel as much as I can, but sometimes they just don't trust or really know those people up there. So if you know someone, talk to them. If you don't, avail yourself of any help that's available to you that you can trust. That's what matters most.
Yeah.
So that's it for the final thoughts. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, listening. Now that we're back, we're doing more regular shows. People are coming back. Please, please keep the comments coming. Um, share everything you have on YouTube, on Spotify, Apple. Find us anywhere on social media, Blue Sky, Twitter, um, wherever you can find us. Please feel free to contact us, talk to us. We love this community. It's a lot of fun. We want to keep doing this. So thank you very much. And remember, if you're talking about it, so are we.